15. So 15's a pretty good number, I guess. So
Yeah, dozen plus 3.
half of 30.
Yeah.
Quarter of 60.
Correct.
3 times 5. We know math. We so good. All right. So anyway, as we do every week, we're going to go over some stuff from Blogatog, Mark Rosewater's Tumblr account, where he gives us some insights into R&D and why they do some of the things they do. So we kind of break it down every week, some of the more, what I find, more interesting topics, and we go through that. So, first I'm going to say, what's with the uncommon Hydra and M21? You've typically avoided printing iconics other than sometimes dragons and angels at lower rarities, right? And he says, just as we sometimes do angels and dragons, we're allowed occasionally to do an iconic and uncommon.
Right.
We've always had uncommon demons. We've also had uncommon demons. So, yeah, it's nice to get them at uncommon. It's pretty rare, but we do get them occasionally. So last week we specifically didn't talk about a topic, and this week we are going to talk a little bit about a topic because it comes up here. So somebody actually said on the 11th, you haven't posted anything here but Tales from the Pit for yesterday and also so far today, and I just wanted to make sure that you are doing okay. He goes, I'm okay. It means a lot that you're asking. So this is last week when WotC banned 7 cards.
Yes.
From all formats, took their pictures down, and this is in response, partial response, and they need a heavier response, but an immediate response to Black Lives Matter, to the movement that's going on in our world.
Yes.
Not just in the United States, not just in your state, in our world, and it is long past overdue.
Long past overdue.
Long past overdue. And so we were pretty sure that he'd have a statement coming this week, and this is a statement, and he just says some thoughts I'd like to share. This post is coming from me personally and not in my role as a, whatever his role is.
Whatever you'd like.
So it's just some thoughts that Maro wanted to share. So we're going to go over those real quick. There's just a few things I'd like to say. First up, this is Maro again.
Right.
I strongly believe Black Lives Matter. I believe there is a systemic racism towards black people in this country. I think it's an important issue that needs light shed upon it because we as a country, and really as a world, need to change and be better. I'm stating this firmly and bluntly because I don't want anyone doubting where I stand or what I believe. Second, I feel my fellow co-workers at Wizards of the Coast share my desire to be part of this change. I've heard their passion about it in meetings, in online communication, and just when talking face-to-face around the building. I've watched as we've worked hard to incorporate diversity and representation both in the game and the company. That said, I'll be the first to say we have room for improvement. We have a lot of work to do to get to the place we'd like to be, especially in employment. I believe we're moving in the right direction, but we need to figure out how to move faster.
Well put.
Third, I think we need to be better at communicating with all of you. I go to meetings where so much work is being done to improve things, and then I turn to social media where I get yelled at for Wizards not doing anything. I would like us to be better at telling all of you what we're up to. We have a good vision. It should be shared.
I agree again.
Fourth and finally, this has been a time of self-reflection. There's 3 truths about myself I must come to terms with. 1, I'm a white man that grew up in America in the 70s and 80s. We're actually pretty close to the same age, Maro and I. Me also. I need to recognize that a lot of things I've internalized as normal and just part of life have ugly aspects tied to them. I need to self-educate to understand these biases so that I can remove them. 2, I sometimes miss larger context to the things I say or do. It's on me to use whatever resources necessary to avoid doing this in the future. 3, I need to learn how to be a better advocate for black people, as well as other people of color and women. It's not enough to just do no wrong. Excuse me, guys. I'm going to start over there. I don't know if you want to cut that or keep it
No,
rolling.
it's just fine.
3, I need to learn how to be a better advocate for black people, as well as other people of color and women. It's not enough to just do no wrong. I need to listen and learn the things I can do to actively make things better. Not solving the problem is being part of the problem. Thank you for reading this, and I hope I might inspire others to do some self-reflection.
That's awesome, and I think he touches on something right there that I think you've probably seen a lot recently, and he doesn't say it in the same words, but with everything going on right now, we've reached the point where it's not enough to not be racist. You need to actively be anti-racist is essentially the point we've reached.
Yes. Being pacifistically non-racist,
right,
not getting us anywhere.
Right. It's allowed us to ignore the problem for a long time.
It has, and we've been talking a lot about this. If you watch Chatter of the Squirrels, our weekly Facebook Live broadcast to the local group, I spent the last 2 weeks, the first 5 to 10 minutes of each one of those talking about it. I don't have a large platform. I'm a small store in rural America.
Yeah.
And I'm saying stuff, and I'm going to say stuff next week. I can't tell you that I'll say stuff every week, but I'm not going to tell you I'm not saying stuff every week. Yeah. So I'm trying to help somehow. I don't know where best.
It's hard to know what the right thing to do is, but the most important thing you can do is
do something,
and not let it just pass by. Talk about it. Talk about it every day if you have to whoever, because once we stop is when change stops.
And don't just talk about it to people who agree with the way you think.
Right.
Talk about it specifically to people who don't agree.
Yes. They're the people who need their minds changed.
Yeah. So a follow-up to that, Mr. Rosewater, I am a person of color, and I wanted to thank you for your recent post regarding your personal views. The first step we can all take is to acknowledge the privilege we carry and also stand beside one another regardless of background. Magic is many things for many people, but for me it is an escape when I'm feeling overwhelmed or unimportant. The world, my world, is better for this game existing, regardless of controversy, and your entire team is very much a net positive. Thank you. And Maro says, you're welcome. Responses like this mean a lot. So, do something, guys.
Yeah.
Something is better than nothing. This is, I learned this in management years ago. Do something even if it's wrong.
Even if it's wrong.
Make a decision. Try not to do what's wrong, obviously.
Right.
But do something. Doing nothing, it's exactly that, doing nothing.
Yeah.
So at least speak out on it. So I'm trying to speak out. We need to change. We need to make changes. Nobody likes change, but it's not just going to happen overnight.
We all have to stand up and kind of say that the status quo is no longer acceptable.
Should have been done decades, hundreds of years ago.
Yeah,
I mean, we can go back to the preamble of the Constitution. We can go back to the Declaration of Independence. Didn't mean everybody, even though we said everybody.
No, it didn't.
And even after the Emancipation Proclamation, it still didn't carry weight.
No.
Even after we didn't judge them as part of people.
Yeah.
Even after
no more
they
3/5 vote.
No more 3/5. Even when we, had the 50s and the 60s of the 1900s, last century, still not there. Why not, people? Let's get off our asses. Let's do something. So there's my platform. I've spoken to anybody that's watching this. Thank you for listening. We're going to continue on.
Yes.
Is indestructible officially in all 5 colors? I know you've said it's used for gods, but now there is a red goblin with it. It's primary in white, secondary in black and green, and tertiary in blue and red.
Right. I don't know if I can name another red card with indestructible on it off the top of my head, but it's cool.
Not mono red, no, but it is cool. So, Core 21, we talk about it in Chatter. Can red or green get some creatures that prevent themselves from being bounced by enemy effects?
I hate Ether Gust too.
It gets really annoying when even the hate cards with Pro Blue can be hit by Cyclonic Rift. Untargeted bounce is hard to protect against. There's not easy words to use template-wise. You know, and I don't like Cyclonic Rift, and I don't like my stuff getting bounced and so forth. But some things, it's just hard to make answers for.
Right.
And you can't necessarily have an answer in every color for everything that every color can do. That's just not how it works. I think that's asking for a little bit much.
Yeah.
Regarding the legendary creature questions, would it be possible to have fewer legends so the ones we do see are more special? So there's been some talk about there's so many legendary creatures that we don't get to learn much about them. There's just so many. There's no story for all of them. We don't know anything about them. And so he says, less legendary creatures is not what our market research is telling us. What are all your thoughts? Well, I'm going to tell you what my thought is, and I may have started on it last week or the week before. I think we got too many.
Yeah.
I think we're getting too many. I think because of Commander, you think that there has to be buku, a plethora, I used that earlier, a plethora of legendary creatures in every set.
We're getting 10 or 15 every set now, and that's
maybe more. I should have counted them up. I really should have. But no, there's too many.
Yeah.
There's actually too many. That's my opinion. I mean, I know people want to be able to build around every single little possible inflection.
Yeah.
That's too much. That's my opinion. That's my little rant for the time. I've noticed a lot of blue hate in green, but not green hate in blue. Any specific reason?
There's green hate in blue. Ether Gust, I just mentioned it.
That's what he said. Most color hate is built in cycles, and that's true.
Yeah.
Most color hate is built in cycles. And Aether Gust isn't even, is it against green?
Green and red.
Green and red, so it is a color hate.
I know, playing my Gruul deck, it's targeted at me, you know.
So, there's usually cycles of it. There are out there. Just because you haven't seen them
doesn't mean they're not there.
It's because green is so strong, and we should ban Forest now. I like. If there is no difference between a lion and a relatively small or domesticated cat, why then did you differentiate from wolf and dog? I understand that there are things that care about the wolf type, but I would have thought they would gain dog in addition to wolf. Can you explain the thought process here? Well, a lion is referred to as a cat. A wolf is never referred to as a dog. That's true.
That is true.
That's true. The big cats of Africa,
Right.
You don't say the big dogs of, I don't know, where are wolves from? The Northwest.
London? Werewolves of London.
Werewolves of London? That would mean when we go back to Innistrad, we would have were-dogs?
Ooh. Interesting. Can we have one with a poodle head?
Were-dogs. Not werewolves, were-dogs. Alright, so how has the secondary name bar worked out so far? I hope we see it again, either with other franchises or in-house themes. It has a lot of potential for crazy promo cards. And he says he's curious about our thoughts on it. And the example is the Godzilla card.
Right.
So you've got the Godzilla name, and then you got the name of the actual card underneath there. So it's allowing them to put more name in.
Right.
Because they're using more space instead of just the one line.
Right.
So it's still too early to tell. I guess it's okay. I think it should be used
sparingly.
Sparingly, yes.
Yeah.
I don't think we should use it just so we can get a really long name of something in.
Right.
I don't like the thought of that.
And like the Godzilla cards where we had the different versions, I think it was really cool, but I think it's only really cool if we don't do it very much.
Yes.
Essentially.
I would agree with that. Evening, Mark. Do we have a Sets of 2021 announcement coming down the pipe soon? We had one of these here a while back, and he says, do you all enjoy hearing about the year's sets in one announcement? Emphatically, yes, I do. I love knowing a whole year in advance things that were coming, and they still added stuff to it.
Oh yeah,
there are things that we didn't know.
We just
They
got the
still
premiere
surprised
sets. We got the 4 premiere sets was the big thing they had told
was
us.
the big thing, but we also knew Commander Legends was coming. A draftable commander was coming. We knew certain of them.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't think we knew Jumpstart was coming.
No.
That wasn't something that was on there.
But getting, like, the 4 standard sets, the premier sets, was really cool. Like, oh, we're going back to Theros and Zendikar next year. Cool.
Yeah.
You know, knowing that kind of stuff is nice.
I liked it. As a retailer, as a LGS, I really liked knowing kind of the direction we were going. Can I request Colossal Dreadmaw to be reprinted into every set that's feasible lore-wise? The card is just the perfect 6-drop common for green, and has me really hyped to draft M21. He says we practically do that already. I think it's had like 6 printings since it came out, and it only came out less than 2 years ago or something.
Yeah, but he is right. It is just the perfect 6-drop common for green. It's a 6/6 trampling dinosaur for 6.
Who wouldn't want that?
You're perfect.
So somebody asked, why was Mills specifically keyworded to Core 2021? As in, I understand why it was keyworded in general, but why in this set? To phrase it in a different way, what was it about Core 2021 that made it the right place to do that? As well as the Hound, a dog, errata. Would the timing of the decision have made it possible to have done it so in an earlier set, such as Eldraine or Theros Beyond Death?
I would imagine if so, they'd have done it.
Basically, we decided to do it, and the next set was Core 2021. Core sets are a common place to introduce new rules and terminology, so it seemed like a fine fit. So there's the real story, the in-depth story, if you will. I think normally that's what they do. There's not a lot of times when they wait for a set to introduce a specific thing.
Right.
The last thing I can remember that with would have been Colorless Mana. They designed that to be introduced in a certain way. But usually just when they're ready to do it, they just do it.
Yeah.
I didn't even know how to look this one up. Is Fabled Passage the fastest rare reprint ever? He says, I don't think so. I don't know what would have been. Fabled Passage still in standard. It's a rare, and it's about to get a reprint and stay in standard.
Right.
So I don't know.
That is really hard to look up.
I'm not even sure how to go about that.
Yeah, I don't need rares. With
Colossal Dreadmaw would win, but it's not a rare.
Right.
So I'm not sure.
Yeah, we've had a lot of commons and uncommons that have got printed in back-to-back sets.
Oh yeah.
Stuff like that.
But I don't even know how to go about looking that up. So.
I don't either.
But he didn't think so. Hello, Mark. I've just seen Sanctum of All being spoiled. So here's a very simple question. Can you confirm or don't deny an imminent return to Kamigawa? And so he frames it behind the scenes. There's a portion of the enfranchised player base that would really like to go back to Kamigawa. That's difficult to do. So why don't we throw them a bone by giving them an uncommon cycle in the new core set? That should make them happy. Kamigawa fans. So this is proof we're going back, right? Never stop being you, Kamigawa fans.
Never stop.
Never stop. I'm not sure. Is there another place we talk about it? But, I mean, there's just so many other sets that people enjoyed so much more that we're not getting back to. Why go back to one that had such bad metrics? And we talk about it all the time.
Oh, we do. I think they could...
Oh, here it is. Yeah. Kamigawa fan here. First off, love the shrines, and thank you for thinking of us. From your article, it seems that Kamigawa's biggest problems were mechanical ones. Do the tools and lessons learned from Magic's development since then, Legendary and Dominaria, tribal balances from Lorwyn, natural power creep, leading to more card interaction like sweep and landfall effect combos, help pave the way to a return? I don't doubt we could do it. It's just a hard internal sell. There are numerous popular sets that we've never returned to.
Right.
Why not do those instead?
Tarkir.
I knew there was one in there.
Yeah, I mean, we could Tarkir or several other places.
How many design teams is the average member of R&D in? Usually 2 to 3. Note that there are other responsibilities besides being on teams.
Yeah.
So they're working on 2 or 3 sets at a time and other stuff.
And other things.
Yeah. Jumpstart is looking like it will be an absolute blast so far, but one small complaint I have is that the packs only contain one basic land with the themed art. The idea of having thematic basic lands is great, but it's disappointing that not all of them have this art. The goal is to make them something highly collectible.
Yeah.
So that you buy more packs and they make more money. So for all of you out there that don't understand how the world works, it's called a money grab. For those of you that understand how the world works, that's why we keep getting more Magic, because they keep making money printing it.
Yeah. I'm disappointed at the same thing. I get it, but man, why are you trying to make me chase basic lands?
Oh, just wait for the secret layers. The last 3 core sets have all given a unique returning mechanic to the set's marquee Planeswalker. M19 Nicol Bolas was the only double-faced card in the set.
Oh, that's true.
M20 Mythic Chandra was the only Planeswalker in their set with a static ability, back when that was still a novelty. And M21 Teferi makes things phase out. Is this a thing that core sets are doing from now on, or is it just a coincidence? I'll say it wasn't a planned thing. Yeah, that's the only phasing we got out of core set.
It is on Teferi.
Yep, just on Teferi, yeah.
I was wondering if we'd get some more, but we did not. So.
All right, so we're going to wrap up with, if you recall, a couple weeks ago, Maro gave us a teaser list.
Yes, for Core 21.
And he gives all the answers this week because somebody asked him for it. And we're just going to kind of compare what we originally thought with what it turned out to be.
Right.
I didn't do the math, but we didn't do so well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So anyway, a brand new Planeswalker from a plane we've visited, Vossry Cat, but it had been spoiled, so we knew that.
Right. It was actually a spoiler, too, that we had seen. So
a card that lets you draw half your library turned out to be Peer into the Abyss. Yeah. Kind of right. I said that Traumatized mills half for 5 mana in blue, but this seems like something that would be in black and cost life.
It does.
It does. I thought that it would cost all but 1, but it just costs half.
Just costs half, and 6 or 7 mana.
7 mana.
2 black and 5.
But it'll hit anybody.
Is it 3 black and 4? Is it 3 pips?
3 black and 4.
Yeah, 3 black pips on that.
But you can make your opponent draw if you want. All right. A +1/+1 tribal lord for a creature type that's never had one.
You were right with Hound. You had said Hound.
I had said Hound, yeah.
They're now dogs. But
pack leader, so it was dog.
Right.
So I scored that one. A character with a Vanguard card and a legendary creature card gets a second of the ladder. That ended up being Baron Tolarian Archmage.
Was he on our list?
He was on our list.
Hey.
But I believe I chose Sliver Queen because I was trying to be fancy.
You did choose Sliver Queen.
I was trying to be fancy.
I really thought it was going to be one of our Weatherlight crew. I thought it was going to end up being, like Stark or Hannah or something, another one of our... Because a lot of the Weatherlight crew has been getting a second card because all their first ones suck.
I would have never picked Baron, just to be honest with you.
I wouldn't have either.
Would never pick that one. A card with 31 different options, and that's Sublime Epiphany.
We didn't even know how to guess that.
We just thought it'd have multiple modes and stuff, and it does.
It does.
It has 5 different things, and I guess there are 31 different combinations on there.
Because you can choose one or more.
Yep. A card that gains all activated abilities of a certain subset of cards in a place it's never done it before. That turned out to be Conspicuous Snoop.
Right.
And we said it would be Exile, but that's the top of your library.
Yes.
So we've had a little bit, that's weird.
It is weird.
A card that uses a non-evergreen named ability over 20 years old.
Phasing.
It was phasing, and you did call this one. It's not even on my list because I thought there's no way they're bringing phasing back. Especially in a core set. No way, no how, and I was so wrong.
I mean, mechanically, it makes sense that they shouldn't, but it's a Teferi set, and there's nothing tied more closely to Teferi than phasing. So
Alan nailed that one. A card with the words Battlefield, Cast, Creature, Converted Mana Cost, End of Turn, Exile, Graveyard, and Mana Cost. Idol of Endurance, and we had absolutely no idea what that could be. That's a tough one, An aura inspired from a cycle from Urza's Saga block.
We were right about the cycle, right? We were talking about
let's see.
Rancor, the return to hand kind of stuff.
Return to hand. Does Demonic Embrace return to hand?
Doesn't it? You can play it from. You can pay. You can pay to play it from your graveyard. Possibly, it either returns to hand for life, or you pay life to play it from your graveyard.
I don't know. I was counting that as a miss, but
Okay.
a non-evergreen enchantment subtype returns, and that was the Shrines from Kamigawa.
Yeah.
And we missed that because I thought it would be Curse.
Curses. That's right.
I had picked Curse.
I thought Curse was a pretty good pick too. Curse is pretty
very
popular.
Yeah. Okay, so then a number of fun reprints. A popular character first introduced in flavor text turned out to be Ugin, not Fibblethip.
Yeah.
It was too soon to get another Fibblethip.
Probably
card,
we just had one and
so, but I just took the low hanging fruit there. A French vanilla mythic rare, Baneslayer Angel. We nailed that one.
There's not a lot of French vanilla mythic rares out there, so.
A popular aura that started as part of a cycle, and that ended up being Faith's Fetters.
Yeah.
And we went with Rancor, or I went with Rancor anyway. And then a card with unique protection ended up being Ruined Halo.
Yeah. We had thrown Baneslayer on that one too.
Yeah, again, some of these at the end I just didn't have the time to research much. 2 cards played in tournaments that have been printed over 20 times with at least 5 different pieces of art. Didn't even wager a guess.
Yeah.
That turned out to be Duress and Shock.
That makes sense.
It makes total sense. They've been done a bunch. A card that's never previously appeared in a premier set, and that's Grim Tutor. And I had no idea on that one.
I thought I was saying something like True Name Nemesis because I thought the unique protection. I was trying to double up there, so I was off base on that one.
And a card that's never been reprinted before, which has a 2, 3, 5, and 6 all appear on the card. Turned out to be Massacre Worm. Fun reprint, good to see, but we had no idea what was going on there either. A Human Monk.
Yeah.
That turned out to be a Zuza. That is crazy. There's
off.
not many green monks, I'm pretty sure. And we were all on either Soulfire Grandmaster, Elusive Spellfest,
or Monastery Swiftspear. As soon as I saw Prowess in the set, I was like, it's going to be Monastery Swiftspear. Because I still only have 3. I really need my 4th to finish a playset. But whatever.
And then a card from the Time Spiral Time Shifted sheet turned out to be Tormod's Crypt.
We thought it was going to be a Chroma.
I went with a Chroma.
Yeah.
Seemed like, it might be a thing. So, anyway, that's going to wrap it up for this week, guys. I know it's not a very long show. I don't know how deep we are.
About a half hour.
So that's what we got for this week. We appreciate y'all listening. And
come back.
Come back and listen to us again.
Thanks a lot, guys.